Hello, and today we'll continue with Undefeated. Redline is standing outside the main doors, facing the opposing wall, with his hands on his hips. His head is craned in one direction, looking down the hall. He's got that same goofy smile on his face, almost like he's lost in thought. So, Xander, yep. What do you want to see first? I feel like I could answer that better if I knew what was down here. Redline spits out another high-pitched laugh. Good point. We got a library and pull some exercise spaces. Those all sound equally interesting. Where do I want to go first? Redline's ears twitch at my answer, but his gaze doesn't change. Sorry, actually, it might be better to go this way, more efficient. I mean, we can't hit all the different stuff on the way here. Come on, dude. He starts moving down the hall away from the cafeteria. What the hell was the point in asking me if we're just going down the way he wants? Just another thing I don't have any choice in down here. I follow suit, sticking close beside Redline as he moves past the stairwell across the hall from the cafeteria. The hyena leads us both down the hall, short distance, stopping in front of a room with a bunch of exercise equipment inside. The machines are being used by a number of men, with a room full of various different species of varying sizes. They're clearly working up a sweat. The gyms. Welcome to them. Well, sometimes we call them the weight rooms. I'll call them the weight rooms, but only the ones that have weightlifting equipment. Mm-hmm. And what do you call the ones that don't have weightlifting equipment? Redline rolls his eyes but smiles all the same. I told you those were the gyms. Come on, Xander, keep up. I can't help but glare at him as we continue down the hall a few steps before Redline stops dead in his tracks. Oh, oi, Bucky. There's a group of older-looking men walking down the hall, us chatting among themselves, and Redline's call while the man turned his head towards us. His face breaks into a smile, and he departs from the group to meet Redline. Hey, Red, how you going? He wastes no time to get close, nearly diving forward to wrap his arms around the taller man's waist in a hug. The kangaroo chuckles tenderly, following suit as his arms envelop Redline. He's still smiling. Their hug lasts for a few seconds while I stand there in a semi-uncomfortable silence. No one around seems to notice, so I guess it's not out of the ordinary for them to give hugs. How's the lad treating you, Red? All good? Redline steps back from the hug. His tail is providing a nice breeze, wagging rapidly behind him. I actually have to step back to keep it out of my way. Yes, sir. Sorry to worry you. I got some ice on it for you for a bit, and it's good as new. The kangaroo claps Redline on the shoulder and smiles. Hey, great to hear, man. He turns his head to me. And you. I feel like I've seen you around. New here, are ya? Redline turns, standing between us and looking at me. Alright, Xander, this is Buck. Bucky, close Bucky. He's a trainer for a few of us lightweights. Bucky nods and smiles. I work with other weight classes too. I heard we were getting some fresh meat. Didn't know it would be so soon, but we're happy to have you. It's good to meet you, Xander. He extends his paw and I meet it with my own hand. Buck or Bucky? The kangaroo gives a short chuckle. My rule is that it's either Coach, Bucky, or both. Anything else, and it's 100 push-ups. In Redline? Another laugh, this time a little louder. He reaches out and ruffles Redline's hair. This pup's done his fair share of payment, and then some. Can't seem to break the habit, so he just ends up doing a little more work at the gym. Redline, whose tail is going nuts at this point, leans into the paw with a goofy smile strewn across his face. Yes, sir. Plus, it helps build more muscle, so why wouldn't I take the opportunity? I honor up my rates if that's your rationale, Red. You don't think I can pay up? Bucky smiles. And what if you can't? His eyes have some sort of sinister hue to them that are safe narrowing down at the hyena. Redline, however, had his eyes wide open. Name your price, Buck. The hyena was standing on his tiptoes to get closer to the kangaroo's face. Bucky simply leered down, still smiling. Next time you fumble the name, 20 minutes on the jump rope. You on, Buck. The two nearly have their noses pressing against each other. They're still smiling, though, so it can't be genuine taunting. Still, this is either the worst match face-off I've seen or the closest I've ever been to a really specific point. The two separated with laughter, with Bucky's hand moving up to ruffle Redline's hair as he turned to me. And you. I set myself back into the conversation now that I've been addressed. Will you be joining us in class tomorrow, too? Bucky's voice is cheery, almost hopeful that I'll be present. I give a half-hearted shrug and gesture to my right shoulder. Not sure if you saw my fight the other day. Got a dislocated shoulder, so I got physical therapy in the morning. The kangaroo nods in understanding. A few more men walked down the hall, patting Bucky on his back. He greets him and passed before looking at me again. I'm sorry to hear. As much as we love to put you to work, we can't have a fighter with a busted arm. You rest up until you're cleared, and we'll get you right back up to speed, alright? His paw bumps Redline's backside, and he nods to us both. I've got to head out. You two have a good night, yeah? With a sharp hop that turns into a trot, Bucky jogs down the hall toward his cluster of friends. I watch him go and turn back to Redline. The smell of the weight room is still very fresh as people are still trickling out, probably finishing their routine for the night before heading down to the cafeteria. He starts moving forward, and I follow suit subconsciously. What do you think of Bucky? Bucky was nice. It is pretty nice to meet someone that's not talking down to me, someone that hasn't really tried to insult me yet. Though I don't think Redline or Drayton intended to come across as offensive, so maybe I shouldn't be so hard on them. Hopefully they can learn to think before they speak. He's alright. Is he hard on you guys? Redline lets out a cheery laugh. Of course. I'm not really averse to working hard, but the way he confirmed that already has me feeling exhausted. But hey, now I can do 100 push-ups without breaking a sweat, so I'd say it's worth it, right? I can't really argue with that. I haven't seen the results myself, but that sounds like what a good trainer should do. It was just the thought of working with my damaged arm, but I'm not sure I'm looking forward to the next class. I'll have to make sure I don't mix up his name. Shouldn't be an issue with how casual Redline throws it out. It's almost like he does it on purpose, some sort of masochistic exercise routine. He chats at me for a bit as we walk through the growing sea of sweaty men before reaching the end of the hall. There's a number of closed wooden doors lined across the wall. To our right, a staircase, and to our left, a short hallway. A heavy chlorine scent wafts from that direction, so I'm guessing that's the pool. He points down the hall. Is that way? I'm not sure how much of a swimmer you are. Not too often. He cocks his head. Oh, really? Any reason why? I shrug. Just never been a fan. Deer aren't bad swimmers by any stretch, but it's never really been something I've taken to. It's like running, but with heavy equipment on, and I could just be doing that instead of having to keep my head above water. You're missing out. I love a good swim after a heavy day in the gym. Water rinses all the sweat out and clears my mind. and they have a hoop of a baseball in there, so it's nice to dunk on some of the other guys in water basketball. So he actually do a slam dunk. He fishes for a second before a nervous giggle is forced out. I mean, I don't actually dunk the ball. I'm not tall enough, but I'd like to think I'll get there someday. Someday, when I gesture to a series of doors. There's a weird kind of lighting focus against the wall, almost like it's trying to draw attention to itself. And this, more gems? Nope, this is the entertainment wing. Well, they call it the enrichment center, but that makes it sound like we're lab rats. He gives a bit of a non-committal hand wave, accompanied by a high-pitched sound of confusion. I was gonna say animals, but yeah, basically. A weirdly sterile name for a place like this, but maybe it's just to sound impressive. Redline's already gone ahead to the entrance of the wing, so I'll follow suit. It's a library. The Enrichment Center is a pretty pretentious name for a normal-looking library. Redline's standing with his hands on his hips, smiling wide as ever. What do you think? I feel so enriched. His laugh jumps out at me. I should be used to how sudden it can be, but it must be more surprising in the silence of the library. The rest of the people sitting around reading must have already not expected the sudden laughter, judging by the generally angry looks on their faces. It's definitely not as stocked as your standard library, but it's got a lot of non-fiction stuff. Like history books? He tilts his head. No more like self-help? You know, learning books that you can learn from, textbooks and stuff. Look around, there are a lot of people reading at tables. A few of them have some notebooks out, scribbling down notes, having some quiet discussions among themselves. I follow Redline as she moves out of the library, passing by the raccoon fellow I saw earlier. He's got some sort of art tutorial book open next to a notebook, scribbles drawn across one page. We go through a door opposite from the pool that leads down a unique-looking hallway. Modern architecture, pretty impressive lighting. It stands out from the rest of the facility so far. At the end of the hall is a grand-looking steel door that looks like it was designed to blend into the wall. There's a black panel on the wall to the right side. Redline steps up to it, tapping the LED screen to life. Okay. Cool, looks like it's free for a few hours. Another few taps and the door slides open. The bright light burns my eyes before I have the chance to turn away. Once I manage to adjust, Redline leads me through the open door onto a giant deck hanging over a beach behind us. A sun shines down, filling the space with glorious light. I barely notice the change in temperature, but I can tell it's a bit warmer in here with the way my shirt gently sticks to my body. This is the immersion chamber. My hands grip the railing, tracing along it as I move the length of the deck. My eyes close and I take a moment to breathe in the salty air. A cool breeze flitters past my ears twitching from its influence. The sound of the waves crashing against the shore, the warmth of the sun on my fur. I try to soak it in for as long as I can. Pretty cool, right? It's beautiful. It's alright. I don't remember seeing anything like this on the promo material or contract or anything really. Redline's already moved up next to me, hands on the railing as he looks out over the sea. Yeah, well, so this area is kind of reserved for higher tier fighters. We're not really supposed to be here. I frown. It's okay as long as no one's booked it. People don't really mind if I'm here. But yeah, people will host parties or post fight celebrations or whatever really in here. Sometimes they'll invite me. It's pretty cool. They even decorate it for the holidays and stuff too. How does this work? We're underground. He moves backwards towards the door. There's a black panel along the wall on the inside of the room, too. That's right, so the screen controls basically the whole room. Time of the day, temperature, wind, tide, you name it. But when the simulation is off, with a few taps, the sunlight fades away. Actually, the whole skyline disappears, replaced with a dull white light. The waves turn off, resting calmly against the sand. There's no more wind, and the heat has started to turn to the familiar temperature that seared the rest of the facility. I can feel my heart sink a little as everything turns sterile. Quiet is nice, but for a few seconds it's deafening silence. As quickly as the scenery had vanished, it returns, the sound of the waves splashing once more, flowing through the air. And, like I said, time of day. A few seconds pass and the sun dips down below the horizon, with a fake moon rises on the opposite side of the room. So it's not real. Redline moves back to where he was before, standing next to me along the railing. Well, no, like you said, we're really far underground. Kinda hard to get any real sunlight down here, but it does a good job of imitating it. You could probably get a tan if you stay out long enough. I've been trying to block Redline out as he spoke. My eyes close and I take in the ocean air again. The cool breeze, the salty scent, the sound of the waves. None of this is real. I will say it's missing something. He has a really good habit of breaking my concentration. I can't really put my finger on it, but it's just uncanny enough to bother me. It's a real thing, too. But hey, the view is nice, right? I look out to the fabricated sea. Yeah. We stayed there for a while. That night, I dreamed of the ocean. Alright, go ahead and pull. My hand wraps around an elastic band, pulling it gently across my chest and then returning it back to the side. I repeat this motion a few times, with Drayden holding the other end of the band. How's your soda feel? Fine, actually. He takes a sip of his coffee and winces. It smells really sweet. Ow, hot. That's good. You said it was giving you some trouble yesterday. Yeah, it was aching a bit, but I think that was caused by other stuff. What happened? Nothing, just Bruce did assault me, but I'd rather not bring that up. It's hard to think of an excuse when I'm put on the spot. I can just use Redline as a scapegoat, right? Redline got excited and yanked me around all over the place. He chokes up a laugh into his coffee. That'll do it. I had hoped he'd be a little more careful knowing your situation, but you can't really do much about him once he gets excited. I know how that goes. He tried to talk my ear off the one time we met. But yeah, be careful with that one. You don't need to tell me. Another small laugh from the feline as he takes another sip before setting the cup to the side. He moves behind me, folding his shoulder gently. It's like he's handling some fragile artifact. Can you squeeze your shoulder blades together for me? I follow suit. It's actually a nice stretch back there. I should do this more often. Drayden tilts my head to the left, giving an even better stretch along the right side of my neck. Very good. Any pain at all? Nope. Good. He comes back around to my front, scribbling something down on his clipboard. So how was your first day, aside from Red nearly breaking your arm? I'm trying not to think about a lot of what happened yesterday. Fine. That's all I really want to say. There's a bit of silence when Drayden just sort of smiles at me. He takes a drink from his cup of coffee. I guess he's expecting more. Redline showed me around a bit, and I met a coach. He was halfway through his drink, but he stopped when I mentioned a coach. Thank you for reminding me. Since I'm discharging you fully today, I've got your coach assignment. Drayden nods, flipping a bit through his clipboard. It's just to get you acquainted with how we work down here. You're free to choose different coaches once you make some progress, but it's a good idea to stick with the same one for a bit. Can't really contest that. Coaches work best when they know how their fighters work. The more a fighter changes coaches, the more time the coach has to spend fighting the fighter's limits and capabilities. It's kind of a waste of time that you would use training to get stronger. Looks like you got Coach Bucky. Bucky. Yep, he's a big kangaroo fella. Well, that's a nice coincidence. No, I know. Redline actually introduced us last night. Oh, great. I get more of his students sent my way than from the other coaches, so he must be working them hard. Either that or they aren't learning to dodge too well. Drayden laughs a bit. There's a beat of silence. Don't tell him I said that. He laughs gently and taps his clipboard on my. He laughs gently and taps his pen on his clipboard. I appreciate it. I don't think he'd really do anything about it, but I'd rather not get on his bad side. Things are a lot easier when people get along, especially down here, cooped up in this facility. It can really drive men to do some real stuff, you know? Cabin fever and all that. I can't help but glare at him. Cabin fever is usually pretty intense, right? I think I saw a movie about it once. Isn't that dangerous? He tilts his head, thinking for a moment. I might have been exaggerating a bit when I said that. I mean, yes, it can be dangerous, but I don't think anyone down here is capable of going insane. Maybe just a bit still crazy, that's all. I suppose that's why they give you vacation time. Vacation time? They give us vacation time? Yep. Didn't anyone tell you? I suppose you were in med bay for a lot longer than most would have been. It must have slipped through the cracks. Sorry about that. But yes, you are allotted a total of 2 vacation days for every win you get. You can wrap them up for enough time for a nice long trip. I can feel my ears fold down. I don't know why I would even want to leave, though. Not like there's anything waiting for me above ground. Drayden sort of pauses uncomfortably. Sorry, knowing your situation makes this all probably pretty depressing. I dart my eyes away. How are you feeling about that, by the way? My eyes narrow and my head drops slightly. I don't answer. I don't know how to answer. I know it seems impossible, but I know you can overcome this. Thanks. There's another moment of silence. He's probably trying to find a way to spin this into something positive. Can I talk to the commissioner? Drayden's face freezes out, with his eyes darting down to his clipboard. He starts to summy the pen from side to side in his fingers, almost like a nervous tick. That's, I'll see what I can do. I wish he'd at least look me in the eyes. I don't say this to discourage you or anything, but it's really hard to get a hold of the commissioner. It would be a good idea to focus on your training right now. He started waiting for a second before scribbling something out on another sheet of his clipboard. But I'll do what I can. Thanks. There's a bit more awkward silence between us. He probably feels bad, but I don't really know what I was expecting. I knew this before coming into this place. I'm the only one that controls what happens to me. Even with this unfortunate circumstance, I have to persevere. There's no point in hoping other people can save me now. So, look back up at Drayden. Sorry, he clears his throat. This will get figured out. We'll get this figured out. It has to get figured out, one way or the other. Thanks. Drayden gives a pleasant smile, scribbling something down in his notebook. Well, if there's nothing else I can help with, I'd say you're free to go. You can start training too. Just be careful, you know? Your ligaments are still newly recovered. No point in breaking them again so soon. I make my way to the door. Right, I'll do my best. That's all we can do, Alex. I twitched slightly at hearing that name, slowed breath in, slow breath out. Thanks. I don't really feel bad that I had left the med bay in a bit of a huff. Not just in anything, I could tell him to call me Xander, but he probably wouldn't bother. I'll still just be Alex to him. Drayden doesn't need to hear about everything that goes on outside of my medical emergencies. Complaining never got anyone anywhere. The only thing that gets shit done is action. Granted, my actions are limited at the moment, but wanting to Drayden when I get pushed around won't fix this. I'll just look like a little kid wanting to their mommy on the playground. Real dolls, even Bruce acts like a brat, and even Redline can be childish. Whatever. This will get solved eventually. I can either win or lose until I die. Drayden was right about one thing. I need to focus on my training. As I left his office, I went straight back to my room, changed into some gym clothes, and made my way down to the gym. Redline was gone, off having breakfast probably. I already had mine before physio. I will say walking around without an escort is still a little bit strange. Not that I miss Redline or anything like that. I enjoy being alone. I just can't shake the feeling that someone is watching me, like I have to watch my step or I'll do something I'm not supposed to. I can't really pinpoint why that is. Maybe I'm just anxious or maybe I'm traumatized. Probably. Hey Xander. So much for silence. Redline pulls up next to me, clapping his hand against my back. It kind of stings. Good morning, man. Morning. He's walking backwards now, facing me as we talk. You were really quiet this morning. I'm usually a light sleeper, but I didn't even notice you were gone. Thanks. I've had a lot of practice sneaking around. How'd your thing with Drayden go? Are you clear to fight? Redline narrowly avoids bumping into a wino who is intensely focused on his phone. Yep, you should probably take care of where you're going. The hyena laughs. I got eyes in the back of my head, Xander. I'm fine. See, watch this. Whoa. Redline moves directly into a rather burly kangaroo man who stands unmoved while Redline stumbles forward. I didn't bother telling him Bucky had been standing in our path for the last 20 seconds or so. This is the open door of a gym room. Bucky smiles. Alright there, Red. Need to watch where you're going, little man. Redline hammers a fist playfully on Bucky's chest. Sorry, Buck. There you go. The kangaroo's paw moved to ruffle Redline's hair, gently shoving him toward the open door to his left. We'll get started on the jump ropes then, Red. They both laugh and Redline follows the momentum into the gym. Bucky turns back to me. And Xander, good to see you this morning. I nod. I think you got to go ahead from Drayden. Yep, he told me to be careful though. Makes sense. Don't want to go breaking anything else. We'll take it easy today. Get in here and start warming up. I follow suit, moving through the door into the space. One half of the room is wide open, an empty space where people are standing around stretching or talking. There's only a few people in here. That makes sense, considering a lot of folks are probably off having breakfast. Along the back padded wall are a few bags of various shapes and sizes. Heavy bags, speed bags, all suspended off the ground by chains. At the end of the room is a large mat with a circle on it, clean and empty, waiting for fighters to use it. Seems smaller than the one used in official fights, but big enough to spar in. Of course, Redline is here too, trailing the jump rope up and down around his body, like he promised Bucky. A few people had gathered around him, chatting while they stretched. It seems so easy for people like him to just talk with others. I don't understand how he's so quick to make friends, especially with the speed he's jumping rope. Most people would be too focused on their breathing, but he's pacing himself well, from what it looks like. I start by stretching as well, keeping to the corner to focus on myself. That white soda really needs this. I can feel my muscle my muscles releasing that tension that it had been building up since the incident. Alright, boys, let's get going. Bucky claps his hands a few times and draws into the space. Everyone stops talking and turns their attention to him. Redline is still jumping rope in place. Bucky slides up next to me, actually patting me semi-aggressively on the back. You'll see we got a new guy joining us. This is Santa, everyone. You want to introduce yourself? The eyes turn to me now. They're all staring hopeful, excited. If not excited, they're at least expecting something. Redline looks excited, but that seems to be his default state. He's really whipping that rope around fast. Right, the introductions. Hi, I'm Xander. I've been fighting for a while now. What more am I supposed to say? That I got my arm broken by the biggest guy in the league? Or whether or not that be what I'm known as here. And they probably already know all about that, so I can't really give them any new information. I guess Bucky can tell I'm flattering as he slaps my back once again with an awkward chuckle. Let's give Xander a warm welcome today, alright? He's gonna be training with us for now on. I expect everyone to give him the same amount of respect I give you guys, alright? A number of guys nodded at me, saying a few welcoming words. I see a few in the back whisper to each other, but I can't tell what they're saying. Bucky's hand sits on my shoulder, patting it gently. He'll be working with me today. The rest of you start getting warmed up for light sparring. Redline started to open his mouth. Well, you keep on that jump rope. Santa, come this way. Bucky moves towards the heavy bags lying against the wall, carrying a pair of training gloves. In one hand, I follow suit. The rest of the guys have already got their hand wraps on, spreading out across the gym to warm up as they chat amongst themselves. They're mostly around my size, but a few of them are a little bit bigger. I guess Bucky doesn't mind having some different weight classes here. A sharp whistle pierces my ears, calling my attention back to Bucky and the heavy bag he was stationed next to. He passed the bag and tosses me the gloves. You do alright? You've had quick classes, I'm sure. I nod under the Velcro on the gloves. Yeah, for a while. They're cheap. Bucky chuckles at that. Smart. Coats can be hit or miss, but you're here, so I assume they did you well. It doesn't look like you brought hand wraps, but that's fine. I don't want you sparring just yet. I didn't think to bring my hand wraps or gloves down to the gym with me. It makes sense to bring them. I just forgot. Hand wraps are used to protect my knuckles, but I normally don't need that kind of protection when I'm training. I don't know what to expect down here just yet, though, so maybe I should be bringing them just in case. If you didn't bring any to Fang, that's fine. I'm sure Red or someone has some they can spare. Redline calls out from somewhere behind me now, still jumping rope. I got a bunch he can borrow. Focus on your breathing, Red. Double time. The whipping of the rope against the floor speeds up. Bucky looks back down at me. But like I was saying, those gloves will do you just fine. Man gloves, thinner and lighter than normal sparring gloves, so I can practice striking faster. We're still getting your arm back up to speed, so I'll hold the bag for you. I just want one or two combos, alright? Take it slow. I nod and close my eyes. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. My feet shift out. My left sliding forward a step with the heel angled out. My right slides back a bit, angled its toes out. I bend my knees ever so slightly, coming down as my weight presses down on my back foot. My hips twist to the right, and my shoulders follows through, following my left arm out into the bag. It connects with a hit spring through my gritted teeth. I force my lips back to the left as my right arm pisses forward. Another hit forces its way out as the punch lands, and I've noticed my expression has changed, squinching up in my face as I force my aggression onto the bag. Bucky's been bracing himself against the bag, clutching it tight, but even he takes a step back as my punches land. Well now, easy, Xander. I said take it slow. I snap my glare into his eyes. I'm not Sure, why? I don't want to intimidate him. He doesn't flinch though, just stares down with that same lax demeanor he's been carrying this whole time. Sorry. That was good though. You caught me off guard. But remember, we're warming you up. I know you want to fight, but you can't go messing up your arm again. Alright, take it easy this time. I nod and focus back on the bag. It's clearly weathered after taking so many punches over the years. Even then, it'll probably last longer here than I will. That's a depressing thought, but it kinda pisses me off. I'm so fucking frustrated. I need to take it out on this or something. Buggy's hands twitch and I see him still watching me patiently. Deep breath, Xander. Take it easy. Force all that anger down for now. My hips turn slow and my punch reaches out to the bag. The leathers collide and part gingerly. Good. I twist the opposite direction, my white reaching out in a similar fashion. There you go. All I want you to do is focus on your form right now, nice and slow. My punches, if I can call them that, continue in a similar fashion, slow, gentle taps against the bag as my feet stay planted. This goes on for a while. The rest of the class continues exploring. The temperature in the room seems to rise. I almost ask if they can crack a window open, but that's not exactly an option down here. We continue for a while, and after Redline finishes his jump roping, he joins us on the next bag over. Bucky moves away from me to inspect the other students, correcting their form and technique as they train. They're all moving so fast, swapping partners ever so often, laughing as they test each other's techniques. "They're all right, Xander?" Red calls over from the other bag, leaning up against it. He sweats up quite the sweat, but that's to be expected after what he's done so far today. Yep, just. I throw another combo, slow like before, but with a little extra power behind it. That. I can't help but speak flatly with him, at least for right now. Everyone else clearly has shown their prowess in the class. It feels like I'm taking remedial boxing for beginners, as if I haven't been doing this for over a decade now. You look like a fucking idiot. You're doing great. Look back up at the red line. It's probably hard without your full range of motion right now, but it's looking really solid. Keep up the good work. He claps me on the shoulder as he walks past toward a few people behind me. Thanks. I don't know if he heard that or not. I guess it doesn't matter either way. Class continues like this for a while. The rest of the class moves on to heavier exercises while I change up the combos in my bag. Redline gets himself into more trouble, but watching him stay quiet and work twice as hard as the rest of us is therapeutic somehow. After a while, Bucky calls for the end of class. Alright boys, good work today. Redline is still off to the side doing some punishment crunches. As you all know, we got a rite of passage for when someone new joins our squad. The rest of the men turn to look at me. I think I can tell where this is going. I move back a bit toward the center of the room. Bucky nods at me and smiles. Everyone gets a free body shot at a newbie. Roll my eyes and lift my arms. They did the same thing at my old gym. A number of guys line up in front of me. They're all wearing training gloves, but I don't really mind either way. After a bit of talking, the first one steps up. He rolls back and I tense my abs. The blow makes contact slamming against my body as I hiss out. It didn't really hurt as much as I thought it would, though there are a lot more to go. He moves on, and the next one steps up, taking a second to aim his shot. Another thump, another hiss, and he moves on. Conditioning is important, especially when it comes to taking punches. This also makes for a good ab exercise, so I can't really complain. The line shortens with each punch, forcing a well-timed hiss out of my mouth. It's good to spit some air out when I get hit, at least when I can predict it, as it makes my body tense up. That can make it easier to take a hit. A few more pass through, and the punches finally start to sting. My ass would be a nice shade of red if anyone could see under my shirt. Only one left to go. Redline moses up to me. It's absolutely drenched in sweat, and his mouth is slightly open, his tongue hanging out. "You alright, Xander?" Even his voice sounds exhausted. I suppose that's a given, seeing how hard Bucky's worked on today. He still sounds excited, though, but that'll probably never really go away. My arms are still up above my head. My body tense in anticipation for the strike. A bit of sweat drips off my elbows onto the floor. Redline wastes no time shifting into the stance. In the blink of an eye, his fist finds its mark in the center of my body. With a heavy thump, I stagger back. My legs quiver before I drop to the knee. The pain resonates up my body, stinging and burning at the center even after my gloves depart. Oxygen strains itself through my gritted teeth as I try to drag it back into my control. Dropped down as soon as I had, tossing his glove aside to put a hand on my shoulder. "Shit, are you okay?" My eyes meet his, along with a few of the other guys who had already had their shot. A few are laughing, either among themselves or at me. I can feel my face go hot. First Bruce embarrasses me in front of everyone twice, and now Redline's dropped me in my first class. This is so fucking humiliating. Get off. I shove his hand away from my shoulder, forcing myself upright and backwards. The room goes quiet. All eyes are on me and Redline for a moment. I'm already sweating from the training, but the pressures got me sweating cold now. Becky clasps his hands together, forcing attention back to him. "Alright, great stuff today, guys. Go hit the showers." That seems to have fixed it. The men go back to chatting amongst themselves, unstrapping their gloves, moving toward the door. Make sure you get time on the treadmill sometime before tomorrow. He tries to yell over the sound of them talking, but no one seems to respond to it. I march towards the door, the sting from the blow still burning in my stomach. "Xander, wait." I'm trying to ignore his call, but Bucky sticks an arm out as I pass by him. "Hold up, bud. Need my gloves back." I huff a bit of air out. My eyes refuse to connect with his as I tear the gloves off and present them. "You're right there, Xander." His arms still extended, move to prevent me from my attempt to slide past him. "I'm fine." "You're not. But you don't have to talk about it now if you don't want to. Go cool down. We can talk some other time." I can't help but exhale. I sigh before nodding. "Fine." Bucky's arm raises like a barrier gate, and I hurry out of the gym. Since the day I got here, it's been humility and pity day after day, and I'm getting fucking sick of it. Bruce has already made me look stupid twice, and now I had the chance to meet new people, but Redline had to go and fuck that up too. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. My path back to the stairwell is cut off by the crowd of people headed to the cafeteria. I really can't be bothered to fight my way through that. My only other option is to turn around to use the stairwell at the end of the hall. That one at least gives me easy access to my room. I thought I could handle that stupid punching tradition well enough I had in my last gym. I'm not sure why these guys are any different. Well, these are professional fighters. It makes sense that they'll be stronger than the guys I'm used to. And why the hell did Redline have so much power? I didn't think I was too tired to take that, but it still stings. I can't seem to get a win anywhere. It's like this place is out to get me. And now I look like an idiot for leaving the gym in such a rush. I can still feel sweat dripping down off my chin. Have I been leaving a trail down the hallway this whole time? Probably not uncommon down here, but still gross. Passing by the gym, I can't see Redline, but that's for the best. I don't want to see him right now. The rest of the hallway is pretty quiet on the way to the stairwell. Everyone's off at lunch, so I've got some time to get a chance of clothes and showers. The closing of the heavy metal door's latch echoes up through the space. It's cold and quiet. The chatter from down the hall is completely silent behind this door. That silence is quickly broken, though. A breathy sigh comes from somewhere above me. My ears flick to aim toward it. Whoever gave that sigh starts moving on the staircase. I wait a moment to see if I can determine if they're coming toward me. It's quiet enough to hear a pin drop, or at least enough to hear the sound of my sweat dripping onto the cement floor. It draws my attention for a second close. I guess they're going further away. How far up does this go? The move up the stairwell keeping my ears out for anyone back there. Looking up, I can't see the end of the staircase. Not that it's very well lit here regardless. I get to the second floor of the stairwell and open the door. Finally, away from the rest of the people, I take some time to get a fresh change of clothes from my room and head to the showers. Halfway down the second floor hallway, there's a massive communal shower room opposite from the bathrooms. There's 4 rows of showers, each row buried on either side with a brick wall. Near one wall is a bunch of hooks and benches for people to keep their clothes while they wash up. This place is normally packed, even with a second shower room down on the opposite end of the hall. It's not too bad now that there's no one around, though. These guys can be really annoying even when people are just trying to wash up. I'll have to come back more often when it's less crowded. I toss my clothes on a bench and carry my all-in-one body wash into the nearest stall. I crank off the faucet knob and a gust of cold water falls from the shower head. I manage to avoid the initial spray, though I can feel its chill from stray droplets against my fur. I turn the hot water knob as high as it will go, but the temperature doesn't increase much even after a few minutes. This hot water is all used up. I sigh and step into the frigid spray, immediately tensing up as the water strikes my spine. My breathing stutters and my muscles convulse for a second as they're exposed. But after a few seconds my body loosens up. I can breathe slowly and smoothly now. The body wash lathers out nicely. It smells kind of minty too. The bottle calls it charcoal chill. Guess that explains the black coloring. Not sure what that has to do with mint. Someone enters the shower room. Xander? Quiet, I really don't want to talk right now. I sigh. What? Redline moves in front of my shower stall. Are you okay? I can't help but look at him. He has no problem staring at my naked body. Here I am, fully nude, hair covered in studs, and he's able to casually stroll in and talk with me. I adjusted to my body. He seemed to get the picture. Oh, right, sorry, He moves to the other side of the wall. Are you okay? I'm fine. The cold water rinses some soap off my fur. Did I do something wrong in class? I'm fine at 9. I thought I hurt you or something. Did I embarrass you? I didn't mean... I'm fine. Red line. I don't really like raising my voice, but he doesn't seem to understand. I want to be alone right now. He's quiet for a second. Well, if you say so. There's another pause. I'm going to go grab lunch. I'll save you a seat, okay? He waits a few more seconds for a response. I'm debating not giving one. Okay, thanks. What's up, man? Red line leaves, leaving me alone with my thoughts. In this fucking freezing water. I squirt a bit more soap onto my hand and run it through my hair, scrubbing it over my scalp and around the base of my antlers. They're already growing in a bit. I don't want to get them trimmed until I absolutely have to. At least Redline's not here to deal with my city attitude. I feel like such an ass. I was an ass. Redline didn't mean to embarrass me. I was just expecting it. He even tried to apologize as I set him down. I should probably apologize. The churning in my stomach and at the thought of that makes me think it won't be too easy to do. I'll see how he's feeling at lunch. The rest of the suds went out of my hair, and after scrubbing down the rest of my body, I turned off the shower. It's a lot warmer in my towel than in the stall. Part of me misses my hairdryer and my old place as city as it was. When they were dried off, fresh clothes with the old clothes tossed haphazardly onto my bed. Redline's gym clothes are strewn out on his bed too. I guess he's still out lunch, so I should probably make my way down. So some kind of rite of passage, since Redline's a new person in the gym under the coach. Everybody has to punch him in the gut. So everybody took their turns punching him in the stomach, and when Redline's turn happened, it was time for Redline to punch Xander in the gut. That really hurt Xander. I don't know if it's because of all the other punches he took, and then that punch from Redline just it's like the last straw for him, physically, or if it's because Redline's punch is just that powerful. He just made this punch really hard, I guess. I think with Redline, his punch is very powerful. He really, I think the fact that Redline was in a lot of pain, I believe that just shows how powerful Redline's punch is. And he's very dedicated to what he does, because he's been jump roping practically the whole time Coach helped Xander out with punching back. So he's been jump roping constantly throughout the whole time the coach helped Xander and the other students. And Redline was apologetic about it. He tried to apologize to Xander, and Xander just didn't want to talk with him right now because he was embarrassed in front of the other guys there. So he just wanted to be alone. And after a while he was in the shower, he regretted his attitude and decided to go to Xander. So in the next video, we'll see how Xander apologizes or tries to move on from what happened. And Coach Bucky was nice. He's tough, but he's nice. And the doctor's also nice and helpful, and just try to be optimistic and positive. And there's something about his father. It seems like there's a lot of tension between Xander and his father, because when he thought his father called him on the phone, he basically cursed him out, wondering why he called him when it turned out to be the daughter instead. So I think that's the reason why he prefers to be called Xander and not Alex, because it reminds him of his dad. Or maybe that's what his dad called him. And well, I think his full name is Alexander, I think. So I guess just being called Xander is a way of distancing himself from his father. So I think the fact that he was so angry when he thought his father called him, I think there's some tension between him and his father, some issues. So, like I said, next time we'll go to the cafeteria and see how Xander approaches Redline after not wanting to deal with him. So, thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.